Hello everyone, my name is Shreya and I'm a legal intern at Lexis and Company. I am pursuing BLLB honors from Law College Dehradun Uttaranchal University. I am currently in 7th semester and I'm glad to have this opportunity of interning at Lexis and Company, because of which I am able to present to you guys with this video. So the purpose and topic for this video is the second authority under the Industrial Dispute Act, that is the conciliation officers. So this is the part 2 on part 2 of the conciliation officers. I have explained to you guys with the introduction and the position of the conciliation officers in my previous video. So in today I'll explain to you guys the duties of conciliation officers. So let's begin. The duties of conciliation officers have been specified in section 12 of the Industrial Dispute Act. There are 6 duties of the conciliation officers which are specified in section 12, which are that the conciliation officer may hold conciliation proceedings in the prescribed manner. Second, to investigate the disputes without delay. Third, where the conciliation officer he has to succeed in bringing about a settlement between the parties, and if the efforts fails to bring the settlement, then what is to be done, and the report is to be submitted if the proceedings if fail to have a proper solution, and if after the submission of the above report the parties feel to approach him, they can approach, and at last the conciliation officer must submit his report within 14 days of the conciliation proceedings. So let's begin with the first duty, that is the conciliation officer may hold the conciliation proceedings in the prescribed manner. So the when the industrial dispute is relating to a public utility service, the conciliation, it is necessary to have the conciliation between the parties. So a notice under section 12 has to be given, that the conciliation officer shall hold the conciliation proceedings in respect of it. It is necessary that the notice should be given, and in case of non-utility services there is no such need, and where a notice of strike or lockout is not given, the uh, uh, such conciliation proceedings may arrive at, and the conciliation officer has, however, the discretion to decide whether or not to hold conciliation proceedings in the non public utility service as compared to the necessary condition of having conciliation in the public utility services. And at last we can say that the conciliation officer has, however, the discretion to decide whether or not to hold the conciliation proceedings. It is upon his own discretion whether to hold the conciliation proceedings or not. Moving on, he has to investigate the disputes without delay, and he have to do everything possible in his ambit to, so that he can investigate the dispute without delay, and as he thinks fit for the purpose of including parties, he must do such things to arrive at a fair and an amicable settlement of the dispute. This is one of the most important duty of the conciliation officer. Moving on, that where the conciliation officer succeeds in bringing about a settlement, he is required to make a report to the appropriate government with a memorandum of settlement, which will be signed by the both the parties to the dispute. It is necessary to submit the report in case he succeeds, and in case if he fails in the conciliation proceedings. In both the cases, the conciliation officer is required to submit the report to the appropriate government. If he succeeds, then he'll specify the reason, what were the reasons for his succession, and if he fails, then he will specify in his report that what were the problems because of which the conciliation proceedings could not succeed. So yeah, if the conciliation officer is required to make a report to the appropriate government, and he will give a full statement of the facts and circumstances and the reason on the account of which is in his opinion was the reason that a settlement could not be arrived at. And fifth, that if after the submission of the above report to the government, the parties again approach him, or if the parties feel that they are in a mood to again reconcile and solve the disputes, then it would be perfectly open for the parties to approach the conciliation officer, and it is the duty of the conciliation officer to again investigate the dispute. So at last we can say that the conciliation officer may submit the report within 14 days of the conciliation proceedings, or within any such shorter period which may be fixed by the appropriate government. And after the period for submission of the report is over, it can be extended by an agreement between the parties. However, it will be subject to the approval of the conciliation officers. And if on the consideration of the report submitted by the conciliation officer, the appropriate government is satisfied that there is a case of reference to any other authority under the act, it may make such reference to that particular authority. And the appropriate government may by order also prohibit the continuance of any strike or lockout in connection with such dispute. That is, if any dispute is going on, the appropriate government will prohibit the continuance of any strike or lockout. So this was all about the conciliation officers under the Industrial Dispute Act. I hope you guys have understood it. If you have any question, do ask me and share the feedback. And yeah, please like and share this video. So thank you everyone for watching.